6 days equals 3.17%. EAs also lost 3 days of pay due to the reduction in the school days. 36% of our teachers, 154.6, will make less next year than they made this year. However, all will see an increase in their cost share on their insurance percentage go up to 16%. You will see some other staff concessions. Not all of these were complete by the time the superintendent's budget was presented to the Board of Education, but this is a summary of the staff concessions at this point. Central office administrators to teachers, administrators, educational assistants, nurses, secretaries, and custodians, all giving and making sacrifices to equal a total of over $1 million. We made cuts in the building and site improvements. I cut $741,500 out of the requested building maintenance and improvements. So this is what I proposed in terms of improvements. Now, since this has been developed, the board has taken $130,000 out of the Newtown Middle School budget you see up there. So the system-wide total, which you now see on this slide is $525,000, has since my proposal has been reduced to $395,000. Curriculum instruction, which is our business. This is what we do. 15.65% reduction, which equaled $82,000 in savings. Those reductions included staff and program development. One of the things that we wanted to make sure we didn't do was get behind in our curriculum revision. That some of that is going to be put on hold for a little while. Professional development, curriculum writing, contracted services, and textbooks. And that hits the heart of what we do as educators. We have some technology has been a priority. Technology has been hit also in terms of cuts. You can see that we're at a low point. We were trying to get steadily up. We are, by the way, the only improvement you see in there is because we have consolidated all the technology purchases which have been in the school budgets in the past and put them all in one central budget. So it looks like it's increasing. Let me tell you, it's not. Special education costs are something that we do our best to be very, very professional and ethical with. We have only 18 students who are currently outplaced. Outplacement is a big cost for school districts. 4 of those students were placed by DCF, so we placed only 14 students. And I just want to underscore what the board chair said a few minutes ago. Of our over 400 special education students, all of those students are in regular ed classrooms. So our teachers are teaching students that when I went to school were not in the classrooms with us. So when people say, well, I went to school, we had 35, 40 in a classroom, and that was just fine. That's not the way it is today. We have an entire spectrum of ability levels within one classroom. Our reductions included shortening the school week and year, staffing reductions, building and site, we took out the 741, and other reductions. The reductions that I brought forward in my budget were over $3 million, $3,448,648. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that drives this budget is a shift in enrollment. So I moved 4 slots that had been elementary slots to the high school. And those are included in my budget of increase of 2.73%. At the high school, which the original request was for over 8 staff members, the 4 top priorities were the only ones that were put forward. One is a world language teacher. Currently in our world language classes, we have several classes where multiple levels are in one class, Latin in 1 and 2 are in the same classroom. For example, our foreign language teachers teach an extra period. So we need a world language teacher. Secondly, we need a physics teacher. Third, social studies. Our social studies classes run large numbers, 28 up to 30, and a guidance counselor. Our guidance counselor ratio to students is the highest in our DIRG, and we wish to get that into a reasonable level. Guidance counselors' job is very complex, and we want to make sure that they're able to do the best possible job for our students. So these are not overall increases in the number of teachers. This is a shift of 4 teacher positions from elementary to the high school. We also needed to increase the pay for the after-school TAP program, which is an after-school program, which is a form of alternative ed, from a stipend to 1/7 of the rate, which is appropriate under the contract. We're looking to have a couple increases in non-certified positions. One is an athletic trainer, the issue of safety. Athletic trainers are skilled to react to the emergency of the situation of an injury at the time, and what happens at the moment of an injury can determine whether a child would end up having lifelong consequences. And so we want to make sure that we have someone who is trained, appropriately updated in the research, and how to deal with injuries that take place on a playing field or in practice. We've asked for a 0.22 increase in hours in the attendance office because we simply have numbers that merit that. Originally, we asked for that increase to the person there, but that would bring the person up to a position where they'd need extra benefits, and the Board of Education was so reasonable in terms of doing their due diligence that saving the benefits was an important piece. We're also asking for a technology specialist. If our desire is to prepare kids for the 21st century, we need to have 21st century technology and someone who knows how to deal with it in our high school. So we're asking for a technology specialist to bring that up to date. Offsetting that are these reductions, which are at the high school. Professional services for the athletic trainer. We currently contract out our athletic trainer services. So we would be replacing that with a full-time athletic trainer. Staff training we would take away, and other contracted services. So the cost for the athletic trainer after the offsets is $35,000. The technology specialist is partially offset by removal of a computer coordinator stipend and 2 educational assistant positions. Newtown High School, as you know, needs to accommodate both the current population, which is too great for the number of space, the classrooms and teachers that we have, and also for the upcoming increasing population. I don't need to tell you about the NEASC warning because we're all familiar with it. We've had a lot of conversation in the year I've been here on the warning status that we're on. The warning status particularly mentions that we need to be accommodating the growing enrollment and provide staffing for lower class size, offer more classes for students, and to maintain and support technology, which we have not really been doing, and program for influx of incoming 9th graders. The quote from the NEASC report says the overcrowded facility, the lack of adequate numbers of teachers, the overworked staff, and the limited technology are all issues the community must address quickly, and it's time. With that, I would like to turn this over to Lillian Bittman.
Okay, good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I want to thank the Board of Finance for indulging us as we give you a little bit of an update now since the last time you heard Janet Robinson present. When Janet brought what she just presented to you, to us as a board, we had already received many, many emails from parents, from teachers, from even students, and we knew we had an even greater balancing act to do than Janet had when she first met with the principals. But we also knew that we could not take a 2.73 budget to the town. So we tried desperately to cut it down even more without affecting the educational level any more than we possibly had to. So we took it from 2.73% down to 1.74%. And I'm just going to go through 2 slides that quickly tells you what the Board of Ed did. Whoops, how do I do that? There we go. Okay. As we met, she presented to us on January 27th. The Board of Ed met on February 10th. As we walked into that meeting, we were handed additional cuts that had happened because a budget is a very fluid thing.